Well, yeah, we're here, and this is the next 2 hours. We just get to talk about whatever we want, basically.
Yay. Yeah.
Well, obviously associated with games and stuff. So, once again, we want to thank Peter for coming on and just being awesome. So thank you so much if you're listening.
Thank you, Peter.
And also, we want to thank Pat, as always. This was your idea. You're awesome.
Well, you guys make it happen. So it's a group effort, without a doubt.
Awesome. So, yeah, and like already Pat mentioned, feel free. Some of the stuff we'll be talking about, just so that you guys can start thinking of questions. We're going to talk about The Hobbit. We're going to talk about the Sony hack and all the hack that's been going through this month. Favorite movies of the year, if we have some time. We're also going to be talking about, as far as gamings go, we're going to talk about easy games to get people started. And games that are fun for hardcore gamers that are just easy. Easy, you know what I mean. Good. It's more of like good games to get people involved. So
the gateway video game.
Yeah, gateway. That's a great one. Games that have good replay value and favorite games that we've played this year. So think of those questions if you want to call in. Those that are local on Utah. 801-254-5855. Everyone else out there, please, you guys still get a call as well. 1-888-919-2355. And also, you can join our chat. Jump on our Facebook to find that. Or actually, just easier, go to GameandMovieEmpire.com, scroll to the bottom, and you'll find the chat and join. We got a bunch of awesome people on the chat. And Daniel, you are right. This is the time where you are here for the free stuff. I said stuff, I changed it around. So, we're going to get started here. Before we get started, we're going to reveal our secret word that if you go to the Etsy shop, etsy.com/shop/mygamertag, you enter this secret word in the coupon, and you get an awesome discount. I believe it's 10% discount on all custom beanies. So I'm wearing one right now. I'll tweet it I'll put it on our Instagram, JWAP Productions, and we'll push it to our Facebook and stuff so you can see what you're getting into. And the secret word is Game1. So G.A.M.E. 1. I know what you're pointing at, Arthur, and it's changed. G.A.M.E. 1. So go ahead, you guys, support our supporters. And, let's get some awesome discounts on them. They're awesome, and they're really cool. Everyone who's on the chat right now, you definitely know, because a lot of you have got it. So, great. We're actually a couple minutes out from a break. But we're going to talk a little bit about The Hobbit, I believe. So, let's get what your thoughts are, Arthur, about The Hobbit.
Well, if only I had enough time to say all of my thoughts really quickly. But I'll try. I just want it to be known that I'm a huge, huge fan of Peter Jackson, Lord of the Rings, and the Hobbit movie. But I was a little disappointed in this last Hobbit movie. I mean, it's sad to say. I think I'm so used to all the great extended editions that come out after all the movies that seeing the theatrical premiere sometimes can be a bit of a downer. Anyway, but, I thought it was a good conclusion. It had some really brilliant moments. I don't want to ruin anything if anyone hasn't seen it. The book has been out for a while, if you didn't know. I mean, it's hard to spoil something that's been out for so long.
But, when I asked you how'd you like it, tell me what you said.
I said it was all right. You know, I felt that it went too fast, that it just felt like they edited it too fast, and that there were scenes missing almost, and that some things were hard to follow, and some things were just kind of randomly put in there. I don't know, and this is coming from a huge fan.
Don't worry, Daniel, no spoilers.
Yeah, sorry. But
You're demanding, Daniel. No, just kidding.
It had some really great moments, though. All of that being said, the moments that really hit home, home dramatically and emotionally, were done very well. It just felt like once it ended, and it was goodbye the end. It wasn't quite that way. And how to talk about the ending without spoilers, you know what I mean?
Sure. Sure.
But, yeah, but my hope is because I felt the same way when watching The Desolation of Smaug, where, like, you know, I was a little disappointed, but that dragon was awesome, so I didn't even care. But then, like, the extended version came out for that, and I was like, oh, this is so much better. So I'm just crossing my fingers, hoping, like, when the extended edition comes out, I'm going to love it. And
I want to know how you would have felt if they only made 2 movies.
I think they could have done it in 2 movies.
Really?
Doubt. Yeah.
You were upset that the 3rd movie was short, yet you think they could have condensed it into 2.
Well, it's all, you know, in structure and writing. You know, you take out some subplots, for example. And it's definitely doable. It's just because, I complained that it was edited too fast, but, like, there was a lot of stuff in there. And then a lot of stuff that just didn't need to be in there. For example, the henchman Alfred had a lot of screen time. I mean...
Was that the really annoying guy?
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
But, like, you know, it didn't have to be in there. I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm just saying...
for comic relief, I guess.
It was a really serious movie, so it's a good thing. But it's like, if I were to cut any scene, it's like I would have cut his stuff and put some of the more meaty material in. You know.
Right, for sure. I think that, you know, my thoughts about it, I mean, I loved it. I thought it was awesome, and I loved all the other movies. So this leading up to it, you know, I guess I have a little bit of a different... Now, I can't say that I'm as a huge of a, you know... I mean, I love the movies. I think they're awesome, and I've read the books.
A fan is a fan is a fan.
I get you. But you do take more pride in being a fan, and so maybe that's what made it different. Is I wasn't expecting. I mean, I still was expecting a good movie, but I wasn't expecting it. You know, and I'm not saying you were going in there being like, this needs to happen and this needs to happen. My couple picky things about it were there was a lot of cheesy moments that really took away from the film. Like, I get they were trying to, you know, Thorin. It says, it shows it in the previews, so I can say it. He started to get a little crazy with all the gold that he now has and stuff, and it goes a little bit more into that. But they started to like slow his speech down and deepen his voice and slow him down to try and make him sound like Smaug, I guess.
I think so.
But I didn't. And you know, maybe I don't remember that being mentioned in the book. Maybe it is, but I mean, I just thought that was really took away from it. So, but we'll get back onto it. Please go ahead and share your comments, and we'll be back on the other side.
We'll be back. All right, and welcome back to the Game and Movie Empire Show, brought to you by Fringe. I'm Arthur, and I'm here with Watson. We're talking about The Hobbit right now. Watson, did you have a little more to say about The Hobbit?
I did, and before I get too into it, I wanted to make sure everyone knew we are giving away 10 or discounted custom beanies, and we got a word from our sponsor. We want to make sure you guys understand. So you go to etsy.com/shop/mygamertag. And then once you pick out which beanie you want and you want the discount, you do Game 1, and it's the number 1. So G.A.M.E. and then the number 1. So I just want to make sure that we clear that up there. Just my final words on it. I feel like it was a great show. I think it was a great movie. And I think what was awesome was I watched Fellowship on Christmas Eve, and I think it was a great idea that they made The Hobbit. And I mean... just because I remember watching it, and I even read the book. Like I knew about Bilbo and his adventures and stuff like that, but like how it ended, I feel like just really kind of made that in character important. And so yeah, I mean, I don't want to give away too much of the ending, but I mean, you kind of know where Bilbo ends up if you've seen the other Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
But, it just gave a much more important weight on Bilbo's character, and Bilbo was an important character to everything, and I think it was. I'm glad that we got that just deserve thing. And although I feel like it was a little too comedic, the movie. I mean, I didn't like that one guy, and you weren't supposed to like him, but I don't think his character was too much important. And like everyone could say, well, he was in the books, but I don't know. But anyway, but I think it was good, and I think that, yeah, I mean, I'm excited for the extended editions like you were mentioning. So, yeah, and just so everyone knows really quick, we'll be posting the Etsy link on the, Arthur already did. We'll be posting the Etsy link for the beanies on our Facebook and Twitter, so just at JWAT Productions, or on our Instagram, you can find us and we'll post the link. So, yeah, but Arthur is going to be giving away one of our first prizes here, and I'll give it over to Arthur.
Yay. So, this is for a T-shirt. Now, just remember that we want to emphasize calling in. It's just a little simpler and faster to win your prize. And the number here is 801-254-5855 for local. And the toll-free number is 1-888-919-2355. This is a T-shirt. I'm not sure what the T-shirt is.
It's the link one. If you look on our pictures on any of our sites, it's a link shirt. It's pretty awesome.
Cool. So Link, our favorite little, I don't know, elf that saves princesses in Hyrule. But the question is, name all 5 armies in the Hobbit Battle of 5 Armies. So go ahead and just call in. That's 801-254-5855. Toll-free number 1-888-919-2355.
And I got to tell you, Daniel's already is looking really hard on the site, and Daniel won them last time. So hurry and call in, and if you can name all 5 of the armies, then yeah. The next, if someone's a little intimidated to call in, then we'll take we'll take email, which is watson@jwatproductions.com, watson@jwat1tproductions.com. So, awesome. So we just gave away a T-shirt. We'll hopefully get a caller here in a little bit. Moving along, our next subject is something that we've wanted. I mean, as soon as we heard about it, we were like, we got to talk about it. I mean, it needs to be said. And what's crazy is how much has happened since we first started talking about it. So, the Sony hack and the interview. First thing that we want to talk about is, for those, to get you guys up to date, basically Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, they were the producers, and Evan Goldberg is a director of most of Seth Rogen's movies, created a movie called The Interview. The Interview is about a talk show host who gets an interview with Kim Jong-un and goes over to North Korea to interview him. The government comes in and says, we want you to assassinate Kim Jong-un. There's that for you. Well, apparently North Korea was upset about that.
Hard to imagine why.
Hard to imagine why. Sure. So eventually, Sony got hacked into by a hacker group called, we might have to find out the actual word for it, but it has peace in it. No, it wasn't Lizard Squad. But they hacked it, they released a whole bunch of information, and eventually told Sony that, well, not necessarily Sony, but they told all the theaters that if the theater showed the interview, that there will be 9/11 type style attacks on these theaters.
Crazy.
Right. So Sony took a little time. All these theaters backed out of showing the interview. Well, then Sony announced that they won't show it. At first they'll say they'll do a minimal release. Then they came out and said, we're not going to release it at all. And then they're going to say, we'll release it on Crackle. And then Obama shows up, the President of the United States. He makes an official statement. Yes. He makes He makes an official statement. I just smacked the microphone. He makes an official statement saying that Sony made the wrong choice and that they should have came to him. Bunch of uproar happened. Eventually, Sony released it on limited release on YouTube and Google Play and on Xbox, which is really funny. Sony releasing their movie on Xbox.
However you make money.
I guess so. and we went and watched it on Christmas Day.
We sure did.
So North Korea is still denying that they had anything to do with the attacks, while our government has stated that they have linked the attacks to people in North Korea. So
who else would have a reason to be mad about this film?
Of course, with any controversy comes conspiracy. So people are saying that it was just a ad campaign to make it happen. But you guys, here's the deal. I looked it up, and just in the theatrical releases, the tiny little theatrical releases, they made $1 million. And then with the Google Plays and stuff, I think they just made over about 2 to 3 million. I just looked up. They didn't make a lot of money.
That's nothing.
So I don't think this was some kind of... I mean, if it was, they definitely didn't plan it out very well.
It sucked. If that was a publicity stunt, it sucked.
Yeah. So, what are our thoughts about it? I mean, what do you think, Arthur? I mean, I kind of went into explaining it, and Pat, obviously, please join in. So, and everyone else, please.
Somebody just emailed me the answers. But
here we go.
Cool.
Oh, okay.
We'll wait for that. But I mean, the real question is where to begin. And
where does it end?
Ooh.
There it is.
I see what you did there. Well, like, you could say, oh, Sony, that movie was done in poor taste. I mean, a caller earlier said, Bill from New York, he mentioned that, they could have done a fictitious country and dictator and that sort of thing. And it's very true they could have done that. I don't think it would have been quite as funny given the context of current events, which is something you kind of talked about a little, Watson.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, we're going to go with free speech, and regardless of whether something's done in good taste or bad taste, free speech,
Right.
But what bothers me is the idea that you have this other country trying to bully and threaten you with terrorism, that you can't show this movie or we're going to attack you. Like, no. Like, that is something that is not okay. Watson.
Well, so my overall thought on this is I felt really strongly about it. And, what was weird was I didn't think I was. But as the thing started progressing, and I'm a filmmaker, I hope to make films coming up in this new generation, in this world. How awful will it be? And let's say if it, I've heard that there's no hard evidence that the government has released that it was. So let's just say for the sake of argument, any kind of hacking service, any kind of terrorist group says to me, don't release this, or any theater that releases this movie, and then my movie doesn't get shown. Like, how would that make me feel? Like, that would make me feel awful, especially when I live in a country where freedom is a right, and freedoms of speech is such a huge deal. So when I heard about this, I kind of started taking it into me personally, and I started thinking to myself, like I jokingly said to you, where does it end? I mean, what else is it going to say? What else are they going to dictate? And it is Sony's free will to pull the movie. That was their choice.
Yeah,
I mean,
nothing bad that Sony did.
And see, that's the thing. A lot of people get mad at Sony, but the thing with Sony is, let's say Sony releases the movie just as planned, and then something bad does happen. Everyone's going to point the finger at Sony. Us as a society, we're really funny that way, where if things aren't perfect the way we want them, we're going to point fingers and blame it no matter what. So we're mad at Sony because they didn't release the movie, but then if they did release the movie and something happened, we would have been just as furious at Sony anyway. So with that being said, I mean, where does it end? What else is going to happen? I'm glad that I got to see the movie how it was intended and that we didn't back away. I mean, a lot of people are saying, America lost the first cyber war. I don't want to go as far as to say that because Sony isn't our government, and Sony isn't a political party of any sense. They don't run a country. They're not, if they got a government involved and then Obama came and said, look, we're backing down, we're not going to show the movie, then I would be more for that. But I mean, tons of celebrities got involved. Just to kind of get you guys more, Ben Stiller got involved and started tweeting about it. George Clooney started tweeting about it and tried to get people to sign petitions, and no one would do it in the big community. And then a theater out in California was going to show Team America World Police instead, but then Paramount started getting threats, and they pulled the movie. I mean, it's just crazy. Like, and you know, a lot of people, and it is a really hard thing to talk about, because when people's lives are at stake, obviously you can't take this very lightheartedly. But I don't want to live in a country where I don't get to choose what I can see and can't see.
Yeah.
And I mean, at what point does that become something worth getting upset about, you know?
Yeah, and I think the thing is, you know, in this country we live in, it's like, we don't have to be afraid of things we say. I mean, it's different if you're, like, threatening someone's life or that sort of
right.
thing. But, like, if you're just expressing your opinions and beliefs, like, you shouldn't be afraid to do that. Like, I mean, it's just, let's say that the movie wasn't shown and that Sony was just like, we don't want to have any problems. They hide it away. That sort of thing. I mean, then suddenly, you know, people say, oh, well, we can intimidate people into doing whatever we want. You know, that type of thing. But what I think is funny is, you know, whenever you try to suppress something, Watson, you've heard me talk about this a few times, something called the Barbra Streisand effect takes place. Barbra Streisand, she had her home photographed and put into a magazine. And, well, she didn't like that when she found out about it and tried to, you know, hide it and make sure people didn't see it. Well, you know, it just so happens that that made people want to see it more, and it created the opposite effect. And that's kind of what happened here. Like, I mean, I wanted to see this movie. It looked good. It looked funny. But I wasn't necessarily like, oh, I have to see it in theaters. But, you know, when this comes out this way, it's like, okay, now I have to, because it's more about just a movie that you're going to see for fun. It's about, I mean, your values and freedom of speech. So whether or not the movie was good, you know, I wanted to exercise my freedom of speech. You know, so.
And something I wanted to say was, I don't think there would have been a much difference in if they would have made it fictitious. Like if they would have called him King John Little Guy, like, you know, or some other fictitious leader, I feel like someone's going to get offended about it. Would have gone this far? I don't know. And, you know, I don't even know in this day of age, because the Lizard Squad and Anonymous are starting to do these huge hacks. Who knows what's fully capable nowadays? And, I mean, we can get into the Lizard Squad stuff about what happened in our gaming part segment, which will be here in a little while. But actually, I think we have a caller. Is that right?
Call? Yep.
Yeah, let's take a call. Hello, caller. You're live.
Well, I actually called back.
Oh, great. How are you?
Live.
Oh,
Hey, you need to be afraid.
Oh, yeah?
But you need to push on.
Okay.
Because no one can tell you what your creative thought process can be. Because as soon as they stop that, they stop everything.
Yeah.
You're damn right. You push on, you take the hit, sometimes you get killed, big deal. Okay, maybe you move on to another thing in the next life, whatever that is, who knows? I don't know. I'm not a big fan one way or the other. I think there must be something. But when you have creative talent, you push on, you push forward, you push forward, always. Always. Without you guys, who the hell are we?
Thanks.
Well, thanks. Yeah, thank you.
I'm a follower, not a leader.
Gotcha. Well, I don't know if I can take full-on credit to say that I'm a leader in any sense, but I hope someone hears what I.
Well, if you have creativity. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Didn't mean to overtalk. If you have creativity,
Uh-huh.
you are a leader.
That's an interesting thought.
It's one interesting thought, you are.
We got to take a commercial break. You want to stick around?
Love you guys. Yeah.
All right, hold on.
Oh, man.
Fringe Radio and Game. Back on the other side.
All right, welcome back to the Game and Movie Empire show with Fringe Radio. We are here with Harv, who's still on. Are you still on there, Harv?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. You were talking about how people who create things are the leaders. You want to pick back up where we started?
Left off.
Sure. I remember I was playing at in Yosemite, and I had a guy who was shooting a squirt bottle in my face as I was freaking out.
Okay.
I got to laugh at that because I can see
It was
that.
god-awful. Listen, I'm just saying it was god-awful. That's all I'm telling you. Anyway, you guys, the thought process, what we do here in the United States is freedom. It gives you freedom of thought. Once that freedom of thought starts getting skanked down by fear, you have no more freedom of thought. It stops you before you get to it.
Right. Yeah.
That's why you guys got to stick to it. You guys are what, 25, 30 maybe?
Yeah,
25.
They are.
25.
Are you?
Yes.
Then stay with it.
There's some sharp kids here. Well, they're not kids; they're adults. But I mean, this game and stuff. No, these guys are well versed, and it's great to see that in today's society. As you know, most of these kids, it's nothing but blah 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 blah. You can't even hold a conversation. I mean, these guys are into what they're doing, man.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot to me, man.
But yeah, we'll stick with it because I appreciate freedom of speech, and I don't want to see it go.
Well, you know, why aren't you guys working for the NSA?
We work for what, sorry?
NSA. Why aren't you working for the NSA?
Because not into that? I don't know.
Because we don't want to. Because truth about the matter is, it's, you know, you've been on to Kansas, you guys.
I've driven through it.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, I mean, you know, in the spring, when it's so green, you have to put on your glasses. God, I love Kansas. I love Colorado.
Colorado's great.
Yeah. And because we can roll this thing forward, and these guys, I don't know who they are. Some people say this, some people say that. Truth about the matter is, I don't know who it is. Why don't they just let us just roll on?
Right.
I don't know. Good question.
They really should. Well, we got to continue on with the show, Harv, but thank you so much for
I
calling
won't
in.
call back, but hey, nice call, and you guys go kick ass.
Okay.
All right.
We will continue.
Happy New Year, brother.
Word of honor.
Have a good one.
Kick ass.
All right.
Kick ass.
Thank
All
you.
right, bye-bye.
All right.
Oh, always great to have Harv
You
call
do.
in,
Yep.
you know. Always great. All right, well, couple last thoughts.
Did anyone win that contest yet? Because someone sent me the answers, but I won't.
Let's check that real quick.
Yeah.
We've got a radio show going on right here, believe it or not.
Yeah, no, I don't think I've seen anyone else. So who's got it?
I don't know. Bill, you need to call in. Because he sent them to me, but, that's conflict of interest. Like everybody in New York needs to call in with the answers because he's got them.
Gotcha.
Well, let's see. Where should we go now?
Well, what I wanted to talk about, what I want to bring up is how involved do we think the government needs to come in at this point?
Well, I mean, if we're talking about the safety of its citizens...
Maybe we should update, sorry. So, we kind of got off subject, but we're talking about the interview and the Sony hack and things like that. Sorry, continue.
Yeah. That's a good thing. Yeah, and we're, it really does involve freedom of speech. And, you know, when you've got people who are making terrorist threats to kind of oppress your freedom of speech, you know, that's a great question. What should the government do? I mean, I think the government should take every precaution to protect its citizens. I mean, that is kind of the government's job. But I don't think the government should tell a business what to do. I mean, like, Obama, he's more than welcome to say, Sony, I think you should have released the film. I mean, that's his opinion. That's not him dictating what to do. That's cool with me. But, I mean, what do you think?
Well, the thing is like, I agree that the government shouldn't say what they should and shouldn't do. But once they have potentially another call, or once they potentially have a country terrorizing citizens, whether it be online or not, I feel like that they should step in, and they should. I'm not saying they should make the decisions for anybody, but they should protect their citizens in that way. Do we have a caller?
We got a caller.
We have a caller.
All right, here we go.
All right, caller, you are live.
I have to call back with this interview thing. Actually, there's a lot more involved here.
Okay.
And I'm just going to bring up a few more points.
Please do.
Excuse me. First of all, Sony's owned by Japan. It's a Japanese company.
That's true.
And they're worried about their relationship with North Korea because there's a lot of friction there. So I am almost sure that the orders came from Japan to pull that movie because they know the implications it would have on them if they were to release a propagandist type of movie like that, especially with the problems they have with North Korea. Another thing.
So you were saying. So I just want to clarify. You're saying you believe that it's Japan that's actually the one that's sending the threats.
I actually think the Japanese government may have told Sony because it's owned by the Japanese.
That is true.
So I think maybe indirectly or there was communication. We, the public, only know so much. I'm sure
Very
there's
true.
a lot more to the story that we
true.
don't know about. Another part of this is the South Koreans would love to have 1 million of these things on DVD where they could balloon drop them in North Korea
Right.
and use that for the people there as propaganda against their own government.
Yeah. I think that's actually what they want to do. A lot of activists want to do that.
Yes. And another point, you see Russia just made a comment recently about their support for North Korea.
I did.
With Russia's problems with the ruble, you never know if they're trying to instigate a problem here, a wag the tail type of situation, to try to create a problem because, anything to do with warfare is a money, it creates money. It's an economic builder. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't be surprised if there may be other parties involved, not necessarily. And then, again, another thing, the expert said that it may have been an ex-employee. They looked over the FBI information, and they say it might have been an ex-employee that was the one who hacked into Sony.
Sure. I think we don't know the answer, and so it's all kind of speculation at this point. But, the fact remains that it is about free speech, and, kind of what Watson's talking about. How should the government react to it? How should we as citizens, react to it? I think that's what's important in the end.
But you know what's important, too, is that if we don't release this, what's to say if a documentary, something more credible,
Exactly.
or a book, or something else that they disagree with and they don't like, and they threaten us with this? And we're just talking about North Korea. What about all those other extremist factions out there that would end up doing the same thing? They would follow the lead.
Yeah.
No,
So it's a dangerous precedent.
it's opened the door. I feel like it's opened the door, and it's something that we need to. I mean, it's going to happen again, and when it does happen again, we need to put our foot down.
Yes,
So,
definitely.
Wasn't there something, I don't know if you guys could comment on it, I thought I read something. Did some company in Russia make doormats with USA, made in the USA, and a flag on the bottom of them or something?
Yep.
That's what I thought I
They
read.
put them in all the malls.
That's what it was in all the malls, yeah.
Terrible.
Well, and this isn't the first time this has happened. In a little bit, Arthur's going to bring up something, but this isn't the first time. I mean, South Park did something. Maybe you can explain a little better.
So South Park, they did an episode let's see if I can find the name of the episode. It was called, well, it was episode 201, and basically the episode, they were going to show the Prophet Muhammad in the episode, and some Muslim extremists didn't like that. And Comedy Central chose to actually censor the episode as a result. So this is kind of a similar situation where, you've got pressure from an outside source causing, someone here in America to censor their material, which I think is unfortunate. But yeah.
Yeah, this cannot happen. We can't allow this to happen. And It's great. It's incredible. It's kind of almost a twist of irony that when something like this happens, it just brings all of us together.
Yeah.
As a country, and
it's sad that it takes something like this to bring us together, but
exactly.
No, but definitely. Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, Bill, go ahead. Win it. Go for it, brother.
Actually, I just wanted to just make a quick reference to what you said before about the games. With all these games that are for mature audiences, and you have all these parents that purchase these games, and they give it to their teens, and I don't know what kind of age acceptance there would be, but these parents need to do more research and become more educated about the games that they're purchasing for their children, because they're naive. They don't really know, a lot of them, what's going on. A kid will come up and say, "Well, I want the new Call of Duty," and they'll just go and pick it off the shelf and buy it.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? I think the parents have a lot to do and responsibility with these kids playing these type of games, because 100%. It's getting worse and worse. It seems, and there's no way that I'm saying that games are responsible for any actions of any criminal behavior. But it seems with the media and all this BS, it seems like that's the way they want to portray it as, that the game is at fault, when the game is not at fault. It's the person who had an emotional or mental issue before they even played the game.
Yep. No, I agree with you. I mean, Arthur's very big on that. I mean,
you took the words out of my mouth. I mean, it's people that don't want to raise their own children, and they want other people to tell them and their children
to raise their kids.
Yeah, exactly. It's ridiculous.
And then when something happens, they blame the video games, they blame the music. Well, you bought it for them. you know?
It's like guns don't kill people; people kill people.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's the same. I hate to use that analogy, but it's similar in that aspect. People there's always a scapegoat. People always try to find a reason.
Yeah.
Back when I was a teenager and I was a metalhead, it was the big thing was the PMRC, the satanic worshiping with the music, the whole deal. Ozzy's this. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And now it's going with the games, the same thing. And I hope that they don't start censoring these games. I really hope so.
Yes.
Yep. Nope. I definitely agree with you.
Guys, great call again, and I enjoy
you.
speaking with you guys, and
Thanks,
I look
Bill.
forward to speaking to you in the future.
Yeah. Same here. Thank you.
Bill, before you go,
Yes.
you want to win the shirt?
Well, actually, I posted in chat.
Well, you're on the line.
I know, but I have to go back to my chat where I had all the stuff written out, because I had it in there. It was the 5. Dane's Dwarf Army, Thranduil's Elf Army, Bard and the Men of Lake Town, the Orcs, and the Great Eagles.
Wow. I was surprised that you actually had like the names of the leaders of the army.
Yeah, well, you know what? Like I said, you know what? To be honest, I like to participate, but I would like others to take advantage of the opportunity to call in.
Sure.
Because Todd will tell you, I'm a big caller of his show, and I like to leave it up to the others. But you know what? Tonight, I'm looking for that T-shirt. So
Right, we'll get it off to you.
So email us at Watson, WATSON, at JWAT, so JWAT Productions.com, and then give us your where you want us to send it, and we'll send it to you.
Cool, guys.
You rock, man.
I hope you guys have a happy New Year and good time with your families and friends, and I'll speak to you at the end of next month.
Yep,
Awesome.
sounds great. Thank you,
Bill.
Have a great night, guys.
Take care, my
You too.
friend. God bless.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You guys, you can't be timid. You
gotta be
can't-
like Bill.
You can't be
Just a
timid.
little news thing that came in. I guess
Sure.
another aircraft was lost. Did you see that?
No, sorry.
What happened?
What happened
the,
there?
Air Asia flight to Singapore lost contact, off the radar, everything from Indonesia to Singapore.
Oh man!
Just happened a little while ago.
and they haven't found anything.
Another
No.
one? I don't know how this happened.
40 minutes ago. It's an Airbus 320.
How can you lose an entire
155 on
plane?
board. I don't know.
I mean, I guess the world is pretty big, but
Sure, it is. I mean,
Sad.
maybe if it was a crash or maybe something that happened intentional. I don't know. I mean, I don't know about that kind of stuff, so I'll keep my mouth shut.
my mom would like to know you rock. Would like you to know you rock.
Oh, thanks,
Um,
Mom.
Embarrassing moment right there. Thank you so much for calling in and stuff like that. Let's wrap up our final thoughts about it. What is the chat has been saying?
Shouldn't we talk about whether or not we liked the film?
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
You got a minute and a half.
Okay, minute and a half. I actually really loved the film. I didn't think I'd love it, but I thought it was really funny. It was stupid, but it was funny and actually pretty clever. So, go see it. It's fun.
Yeah, I really loved the movie. I think Seth Rogen has really what was the thing with Seth Rogen was he was doing basically the same movie over and over. But then he stopped and was like, "Okay, I'm getting this rap of movies that I'm making the same movies. I'm going to reamp myself." So we get This Is the End. And for those who haven't seen This Is the End, I feel like it is one of the best comedies that we've seen in a long time. It plays off of celebrities in general. It makes fun of each other, makes fun of themselves, and I think it's just such an awesome thing. And then they come out with the interview, and the interview is just awesome. I think, I feel like, there was a lot of some jokes were very, juvenile, like the body part jokes and the things like that. But, that appeals to a lot of people. But there were some very smart.
It was a smart, dumb movie.
Yeah, exactly. It was a very smart, dumb movie. And I think it's something that people need to see. And, I won't lie. This is embarrassing. I was a little nervous to see it. But, no, I'm very glad that I went and saw it. So, yeah, we're about to take a MSN break.
Yep. Be
News
back on
break.
the other side. Fringe Radio, Game.
Yep, see you
Stay
guys.
tuned.